Morning, humans. Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing? Hopefully, you're all doing very, very well. I'm just looking at my laptop just to make sure this is recording. This does scare me sometimes. With the plug-in one, it's just so easy. It's plugged in. I know that's it. It's done. With this one, there's so much other shit that goes into it. But yeah, I think we are recording, hopefully. How's everyone doing? If you're new to the channel, don't forget hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the videos, all that good stuff. Thank you so much to everyone that jumped on the live watch long yesterday. In the end, it was something like 60,000 views, which is pretty good for a small little channel like we've got. So yeah, thank you. I'm not silly. I know that some people probably jumped on assuming it was the real thing that I was showing the live fight, but a lot of those people stayed, which is nice to see. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone that jumped on the live stream. It was, in the end, I thought, a pretty average card. And we're going to talk about the card and separate fights a bit later, but yeah, I was tired. I was yawning in the Joseph-Parker Chisora fight, yawning. I was like, can this fight end now? Like, just stop. Like, anything happen, please. Stop the fight. Disqualification, something. Didn't happen. We went the full 12 rounds. We are going to speak about it. But first, I think it's important that we start on Friday night. It was a Queensbury show headlined by Sonny Edwards versus Maruti Mataleni. Arguably one of South Africa's best ever fighters. One of his, obviously coming to the end of his career now, 38 years old, but that's not an excuse. I'm just stating facts. He's 38. He looks a lot older than 38 in the ring as well, by the way. But look, congratulations to Sonny Edwards. Boxed smart, intelligent, didn't get involved, fought on the back foot, engaged when he needed to win the rounds, and ultimately he just won the fight quite comfortably. Look, it was never 120, 108. I think that was one of the scorecards. Again, British judging, right? I think we've seen it in recent months, how horrendous it is, and that was another horrendous scorecard. But ultimately, the right man won, and that's what's important. So look, congratulations. Congratulations to Sonny Edwards. I don't want to give any excuses for Maruti. I did say in the lead up to the fight that I thought he would win. I said that Sonny Edwards would win the first couple of rounds and then Maruti would come good, make the adjustments and go on and win the fight and show his experience. But in the end, no, didn't get to see it. I did speak to one of Maruti's team members the night before, like a really long conversation, nearly 2 hours, and they were very, very confident. I tried to give them excuses. I was like, man, your fighter only came in a couple of days ago, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but he had to go from South Africa to Tunisia because South Africa is now on the red route, so he can't fly direct to the UK. He had to go from South Africa to Tunisia, wait there, get a visa, then fly from Tunisia over to London. But he's like, no, we're good. We're good. They thought Sonny Edwards was good, but inexperienced. Obviously, Sonny Edwards going down in weight as well, but in the end, Sonny Edwards shows how good he can be. Really good boxing performance. And look, that division is full of killers, though, I'll be honest with you. It's a horrible division. You got the small Mexicans that no one wants, and we're going to talk about Mexicans in a bit. But you got those floating around. You got the guys from Asia floating around. It's a horrible division. But good luck to him. Regardless of what happens next with Sonny Edwards, he has become a world champion, and he beat one of the best in the division to get that belt. It wasn't no vacant belt. It wasn't no easy fight. You know, sometimes there's a route you look at which is a bit easier. It wasn't that. No. He fought the man or one of the men in the division and won. So let's give him some credit, and I'm going to do that. A lot of people have come up to me and said, Addy, Maruti was shit. Why can't it be the other way around? Why can't it be Sonny was so good? And I'm going to look at that rather than Maruti was shit. Troy Williamson stopped Kieran Smith. Yeah, look, I was in a documentary with Kieran Smith when? About a year ago. And it was almost a case of he's in the Who Needs Him club, right? He's very big at the weight. He doesn't bring much name value. So he was always struggling to get fights. He got a fight and he got stopped. It's difficult. Boxing's a cruel sport, but you kind of wonder what next for him now. The good thing for him is that this country is very, very deep when it comes to 154 pounders, so that he will get fights if he wants to continue. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But look, congratulations to Troy Williamson. He puts himself in a position now to fight for the British title. He puts himself right in there in that mix with Cheeseman, Fowler, Fitzgerald, who came back on the weekend. We're going to talk about Fitzgerald a bit later. So look, good luck to Troy Williamson. Good win. We'll see what happens with Kieran. Michael Conlan was on the card as well. I don't know what okay, I know what I expected from Michael Conlan in this professional career. I know what I expected. I expected someone to be right up there quick. I don't know if I'm going to get that. I don't know if we're going to get that. He clearly is a good boxer. Like there's boxing ability there. I don't know if he has the pop, which you might need in this division. But look, there's clearly talent there, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him. I did actually speak to him a couple of weeks ago in the lead up to this fight. And I think he's very, like I was saying, potentially you're talking about a guy that could win a world title in 2022. He was like, no, I want a world title fight next. I think this might put a pause on that for now. This is not me discrediting him or even discrediting his opponent, but there's still things to work on. I don't see there being too much of a rush yet. So I think they might try and squeeze in. He wanted to fight in August and he wanted to fight again in November when I think I spoke to him, or December. I think they might do one more fight this year now because that was quite a tough fight, and then see what happens in 2022. See what they do. All right, let's talk about the Matchroom card. Obviously, look, I done pretty much the whole card. 4.5 hours that live stream was, so it was a long one. Apologies. Man, it was a long card. It was a card full of names, or at the start for me anyway, looking at it, was a card full of names rather than good matchups. That's the way I viewed the card as soon as it was announced. I actually bloody didn't start my live watch along quick enough to show the reaction or how my face reacted when Tennyson went down. In the lead up, I'm not joking. So I remember doing my predictions, and I remember looking at the fact that he was fighting an unknown Mexican and thinking, this is bad news. I'm not joking. Mexicans are going to be stopped at the border now like they are in America. Because no one's going to want to fight him over here. Like, you're going to have to, when you haven't got a tape on him, and I'm guessing there wasn't much tape on this kid, just don't take the fights. They're just too dangerous, unfortunately. I know that sounds like a bit of a wimp cop-out, but I'm just stating facts. Too dangerous. Tennyson can hit hard, and he got poleaxed. Remember, that was a Tennyson that Johnny Nelson said would knock out Gervonta Davis. I mean, look, there was an IBO world title on the line. So, look, I mean, this is a legit fight, but, yeah, he just got poleaxed and stopped, and you kind of wonder about the matchmaking there, if I'm honest with you. But it is what it is, right? Sometimes you got to roll the dice and your numbers come up. When two punches are put in the ring together, someone's getting iced. And unfortunately, the icing was done by the Mexican. Johnny Fisher, the Romford Bull, big lump of a man. What was that, his second pro fight? Difficult to judge him on a second pro fight, as it is difficult to judge Campbell Hatton as well. We're going to get to that. But difficult to judge him. I mean, let's see. I've been fucking, I'm old in the tooth, me. I'm 40 years old, so I've seen a lot of heavyweights come and go, and you know, a lot of hype around some kids because they're big and they can punch, and then they just disappear off the face of the earth. So let's see what happens with him in sort of 5, 6, 7 fights time. For now, 2 fights, 2 wins. That you know, it's difficult to kind of comment on it really. Scott Fitzgerald back. That fight, 168 pounds, looked really, really heavy. It's funny because I didn't know, I didn't see the weigh-in. So I didn't know it was 168. I remember seeing him in the ring thinking, what's happened to Fitzgerald's body? That's the first thing I thought. And then obviously I realised that this fight was with a heavier weight class. Look, he's had his issues outside the ring. A lot of issues as well. Remember the last time we saw him, this guy had back-to-back wins against Anthony Fowler and Ted Cheeseman. So he was the number one in this country, this island by a margin, I thought, and was going to go on to do good things on the European scene. We'll see now. Fowler's had a good win. Cheeseman had a good win, didn't he? Against JJ Metcalf, I think it was. So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to need to have 1 or 2 more and then see. So if they can get him out again twice before the end of the year, and then 2022 maybe mixes it with them. Maybe, look, maybe that. I mean, I keep mentioning those names. Troy Williamson's there now. We've seen him have a good win. Why not go that route if you can? But look, it's good to see Scott Fitzgerald back. Obviously, look, he's more happier doing this than what he does outside the ring. Let's just hope they can keep him in the ring, because very much like, not on the level of I mean, I think it's wrong for me to compare him to Fury and Billy Joe Saunders. I don't think it's that bad. So I don't think they're as bad as Fitzgerald is what I meant to say. But you kind of feel like fighters like that need to have something to look forward to concentrate on, to keep their mind away from other shit. And I think the more we see Fitzgerald in the ring, the better for him. Dmitry Bivol versus Craig Richards. I nearly forgot what was next. Didn't expect that. Did I? Well, by the way, the scorecards were wrong. Like, if you saw, I think it was 115, 114, one of the scorecards. That's not how the fight was, by the way. Bivol won that by quite a few rounds, maybe 9 rounds to 3. Like, Bivol won that by now. But credit to Craig Richards. I didn't think he would last 5-6 rounds with Bivol. Like, when this fight was announced, I was like, this is silly, this is dangerous. Literally, I was speaking all negative about this fight. I said, look, if you're Craig Richards, you're going to take the fight because, you know, you're 31. It's a world title opportunity. Bivol's been out the ring for a long, long time. Take it. But I didn't like the fight. I was impressed with Craig Richards. I was very, very impressed with him. I thought he started very, very slow, almost like deer in the headlights. I thought his jab was a bit like almost nothing. It was just there as a rangefinder. And Bivol looked incredibly sharp. Like really, really good. Like landing shots and just almost giving like Craig Richards like a little mind kind of, I was going to swear there, but you know, mind F-U-C-K, like, what do I do with this kid? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then Craig Richards started to come into it. He started fighting fire with fire, and that's what sometimes you got to do. Sometimes you got to put a dent in these guys to make them show respect to you. Like, sometimes if they keep walking you down, and that's what Bivol kept doing, was walking Craig Richards down, like, unless you dent them, they're going to keep doing that. And I think he landed a couple of big shots, and Bivol was like, okay, you've got my respect now. I'm going to fight on the outside. And then when he started fighting on the outside, Craig Richards, who's clearly got the longer reach, longer levers, had some success. In the end, there was like, I think sort of from round 9, I was like, okay, he needs to really turn this up because he was way down on my scorecards. I think round 9, I had it like 7-1 to Bivol. And I was like, okay, Craig Richards needs to go. He's not going to win this on the judges' scorecard. The only way he wins this is if he knocks him down or knocks him out. And I was a bit disappointed that he didn't like go from like gear 1-2, which I thought he was in for a lot of the fight, to gear 5-6. He definitely went to 3-4, but it wasn't enough. In the end, look, there are levels in boxing. And I think Bivol proved that he was a level above, but I think Craig Richards proved that he's a level above British level as well now. So I think Craig Richards should take heed from that and just go on to European fights now, or fringe world level, or get in the mix. Get in the mix, man. There's no problem about that. Craig Richards is probably now in your sort of universal rankings, or however you name it, sort of a top 20 light heavyweight in the world. Start having those fights. Go to America, get in the mix, have those guys. Might as well, right? I mean, or look, there are some very, very good domestic showdowns now. Very good. There's Lyndon Arthur, there's Yard, there's Callum Johnson. I was gonna say Boatsy, but Boatsy's not gonna fight him. So there's guys out there. There's guys out there. Look, I say Boatsy wouldn't fight him. Boatsy probably would fight him. But I just kind of wonder if that fight makes sense. I'm not sure. Sorry, that slurp in there was horrible, and I know that's going to piss off a few of you. Ade, stop drinking on camera, folks. Next fight up was Christy Bain Jr. against Marcus Morrison. First round, non-existent. Let's move on to the second round. Second round, Christy Bain Jr. had Marcus Morrison hurt big time, yeah? And I don't know if it was his arrogance. I don't know what it was, but Marcus Morrison was turtled up like this. Christy Bain Jr. was landing at free will. And I was thinking, 3 or 4 more shots here, the referee is going to come in and stop it. Go and watch the fight. That's exactly what was going to happen. Christy Bain Jr. decided to then completely back off. It was pure arrogance. Decided to back off, and it was like, no, it's not stopping now. That's honestly what he kind of did. Is like, no. He kind of waved his glove like, no, we're going to have some more rounds here. He thought this was going to be easy work. He thought this was going to be easy work, and he backed off, and he paid the price. I say he paid the price not because he was ever really hurt in the fight, but he paid the price because it went the full distance, and I think that has fucked up his ego. I think, he might say later on, as most do, I wanted the rounds. I wanted, you know the term when these fighters don't get them out of there. They say, I wanted the rounds. I don't think he did want the rounds. I think Marcus Morrison started to grow in a bit more confidence, right? Initially, Marcus Morrison would have been like, shit, I'm in here with Chris Eubank Jr. As much as we laugh sometimes about Chris Eubank Jr. is a legit world level fighter. And I think Marcus Morrison initially was like, what am I doing in here? I think once he realised he belonged here, started to get confidence, started to eat a couple of Eubank Jr. shots and realised he can take him, he then started fighting fire with fire. And Chris Eubank Jr. was so tentative to stay in the pocket with him and trade. Like Chris Eubank Jr. would land a couple, then move. Land a couple, then move. Whereas normally Chris Eubank Jr. will put it on you and stay putting it on you. Didn't want to do that. I don't know, like he's been with Roy Jones Jr. now for like over a year. I didn't see anything really in that fight that would tell me he's been training with Roy Jones Jr. That was pretty much Chris Eubank. Everything in that fight was Chris Eubank. The first round, I saw a bit of Roy. His hands were really low. Like Roy really leaves his hands low. Chris Eubank Jr. done that. And I was like, what's he doing? It was weird to see. But look, in the end, he gets to 10 rounds. They're in the bag. Credit to Marcus Morrison. I wouldn't mind seeing Marcus Morrison in there, stay in that mix, if I'm honest with you now. I mean, there is Bentley that's coming off a loss. Or maybe, look, I don't know if Felix Cash will think I could fight Marcus Morrison. I don't know. I have no idea. I got to look at the rankings. But Marcus Morrison is there. That was a good, solid performance from him. Look, he might have lost the majority of the rounds, but I think he proved that there's some ability there. He can take a punch. And I think the one thing he lacks is confidence. It's not boxing ability because he has some. It's confidence. So I think this will hopefully give him some confidence to know that, you know, he's there or thereabouts. He's there or thereabouts. He's a good British level fighter. Campbell Hatton was up next. All right, this has caused a lot of issues, this, as always, for some weird reason. I'm going to speak very honest about the Campbell Hatton situation. I don't like the fact that Campbell Hatton is so high up on the cards. Remember, he's not a filler. He's not like someone that's on standby just in case the fight ends early. Then you throw a 4-rounder or a 6-rounder in. And no, he's high up on the cards, very high up. Bear in mind, Dmitry Bivol is a world title fight against Craig Richards. You know, it should be that for me. It should be in ranking of order in terms of who you are and where are you in your career. But he was high up on the cards, and I think that just adds pressure because, look, the way in which a pay-per-view element works is that not everyone tunes in for the whole card. We hardcore fight fans do, but the majority of casual fans tune in for just the main 2 or 3 fights. So all eyes are on Campbell Hatton, all eyes. Where for me, what you do is you put him on the pay-per-view card. I think, yeah, you chuck him on because, you know, he's got the name, Hatton, fact, right? Unfortunately, that name opens doors. You put him on the card. You just put him in early. You put him in early in a 4-rounder, not many eyes on him, let him do his work, and that's it, done. Once you put him that high up, he's open to so much ridicule and critique because everyone is now watching. And everyone's like, okay, let's see what he's got. No one in their second fight, unless you're on a proper Olympic standout, is going to look that good. A good amateur is going to look good, but most people aren't going to look good in their second fights. But we're judging Campbell Hatton differently because of the name. I was watching that fight, and the first thing that I thought when I watched it was, why is he pro? That's the first thing that came to my mind. Why is Campbell Hatton turned over now? Why is he still not an amateur? Why is he still not learning his trade? Why have they rushed him? You know, there's that thing what people say, which I don't agree with, like, oh, my style suits the pros. That doesn't work with Campbell Hatton. Like, there's so much to work on there. Look, he's got a great team around him, so no doubt he's going to work on those things. But I almost feel like he should still be an amateur. He should still be learning his trade. He's only 20. Like, you know, he could be amateur for the next 4. He could turn pro at 24. He could honestly have had 100 amateur fights, turn pro. He's still Hatton. Like, he will be fast-tracked. He still will be put on pay-per-view cards. I feel like they've turned him over very quickly. And my fear for him is the matchmaking now. Remember last week, when he fought on the White Povetkin card, I think he fought a guy that had 12 losses. Which, that's good, right? You fight a guy with 12 losses. The problem is, that means that guy's had 12 fights. And that guy brings experience as 12 fights. That's a guy that knows how to survive 12 fights. That's a guy that knows how to survive. And he did. So what do you do? Okay, so now they brought him a guy with 4 losses. Which, again, perfect matchmaking. But the idea is now you're fighting a guy who's not experienced. Every fight he's had, he's lost. You got to look good against that guy. You've got to kind of look good against that guy. He didn't really. Let's be honest, he didn't. So what do you do now? Now what you might have to start doing is fighting guys on their debuts. So guys with no amateur experience, because then that means those guys can box, and guys on their debuts. So guys literally that have maybe come over from white collar boxing that just want to scrap. Because if you fight a guy that is on his debut but has good amateur experience, that's going to be a problem. If you fight a guy that has an awful record but has fought 15, 20 times, you've got a problem because that guy's fought 15, 20 times and knows how to fight. There's going to be an issue with Campbell Hatton, and I hope there isn't one, but there might be. It's going to be very difficult to matchmake him. They're going to have to look carefully. They're even going to have to cheat a little bit, and what I mean by that is, like yesterday, that guy wasn't really a lightweight, was he? Let's be honest. That guy was probably a featherweight that's just, come in and not really a guy that's not cut weight, so he just literally jumped on the scales and he's a lightweight. They're going to have to do that a bit. They're going to have to get guys that aren't lightweights, guys that are coming up. Like Campbell Hatton looked a lot bigger than that guy physically yesterday, and that's kind of what they're going to have to do for the next sort of 7 or 8 fights. What I would suggest they do, though, is take him off the main portion of a pay-per-view card, because we, in the new era of social media, are too harsh, and I feel like I'd rather not a lot of eyes on him and let him just work. Let him work, man, behind it, like on the early parts of a card. Yeah? All right. Fight of the night, by far, Katie Taylor versus Tasha-Jonas. What a scrap that was. That was a beautiful scrap. Tasha started so slow, and I was like, uh-oh. Deer in the headlights here. Katie Taylor started so fast. Like the first 2-3 rounds, Katie Taylor was on... No, the first 2 rounds, I think Katie Taylor was on fire. Fast hands, aggressive. And I was like, well, this step-up's a bit too much for Jonas. Jonas won the 3rd round, and then we started to have a fight. Then we started to have a fight. A couple of people pointed out on the live, like, these 2-minute rounds, right? And they're saying things like, the girls should have 3-minute rounds. And a few others are like, but you get all action in 2 minutes, which is so true. 2 minutes give you so much action. Like, I was watching the Ben Marcus Morrison fight. You got like 30 seconds of action. That's it. You didn't get the full 3 minutes. These ladies literally gave you action from the first second to the last second of those 2 minutes, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Round 8 was spectacular. They were both trading, and it wasn't just trading with reckless ambition. It was trading with technique, precision. Tasha-Jonas going to the body, Katie Taylor winging up hooks and uppercuts. It was great boxing. And we've had a few female fights now that have really ticked the box, like Shannon Courtney, Ebony Bridges, really good fight, action-packed, both girls going for it. And this one as well, both girls going for it. I found it very difficult to score. I know at one stage, Andy Clark had it 3-3. I didn't know what the score was. I was just enjoying it. I actually was not scoring that fight. I was like, who's winning this fight? I have no idea. Like, I always felt like Katie Taylor was way more aggressive and doing the better work. But I was like, Jonas is still landing some clean shots here. Like, Katie Taylor's was burst, and technique-wise, I mean, there can't be a female boxing that technically is better than Katie Taylor. Like, her technique's incredible. But I felt like Jonas was digging, landed a couple of spiteful shots. And in the end, I think the scorecards maybe reflected how good and how close a fight that was. What was it, 96? I think it was like 96, 95 and 90... Was it 96, 95 once and 96, 94 twice, I think. But again, it was close. It was close. I would have been shocked if Jonas won it based on what I was just watching, right? Rather than scoring it. But in the end, credit to both. Honestly, really enjoyed that fight. Really enjoyed it. And I hope that was the start of what was going to be a great main event, like a great main event portion of the pay-per-view. But Chisora-Parker was just... I'm off the Parker bandwagon. I'm off. He angers me. That's why I'm leaving him, because leaving him like this is a fucking divorce. But I'm leaving Parker because he upsets me, because I feel like there's something in there and it doesn't want to come out. You know, like when it reminds me of a bit like the Matrix, the first one, where Morpheus and Neo are sparring in the dojo, and this is so random. But Morpheus is like throwing punches and landing, and he's telling Neo, "Come on, hit me! Don't know you can hit me, believe you can hit me." And Neo's like almost like, "Okay, I'm trying." And then Neo just and Morpheus is like, that's fucking Joseph Parker for me. Well, I feel like it's there. I feel like, come on, Joseph, don't tell me you can do it, do it. And I'm like, I can see it, but he doesn't do enough of it. Like even when he got knocked down in the first round, literally the first 15 seconds, like he doesn't even complain. It was a punch, above, just here. So it was the wrong place. Like above, it's an illegal punch, really. Back of the head, illegal punch. Most people would get up and like, ref, it's a legal punch. What are you doing, ref? He just gets up and is like, yeah, it's cool. Let's go. And I'm like, you dude, you need an anger management. You need the opposite of an anger management course. They need to get you angry. And then they're in the change room after eating cheeseburgers, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. Get angry, Joseph, please. He's a good boxer. Trust me, I'm not even upset about Chisora because I know what Chisora does. I know what he brings. Chisora will come with that kind of peekaboo style, for 12 rounds. He's just going to do that. The only way you dent him is if you land clean and it's more than one punch. Get him, unless you've got that kind of Dillian White left hook, you're not getting rid of Chisora in one punch. You've got to literally land on him constantly to put him out. And it was just like one or two punches here, a couple of jabs there. I was like, oh, this is awful. Awful. So yeah, we're not even going to talk about it too much. I really found it boring and unentertaining and uninspiring. So I'm not going to waste time talking about it. What I will talk about though is Arreola Ruiz. Woo! Boy, I just watched that an hour ago on my Premier Sports app. That was wild. And I say it was wild because there were fights in the crowd as well. Remember, this was in LA. Yeah, Mexico's everywhere. There were fights in the crowd. It was an entertaining fight, man. Arreola, is going to look at himself. The funny thing is, Arreola was walking back to the corner after every round and he was shaking his head like, this kid ain't got it. And he was talking about Ruiz. It was almost like this is not difficult. And I think he was thinking two things. First of all, it was like, okay, I'm here. I've got the knockdown. He got a knockdown, by the way, in that fight. But I think he was thinking, if I was 10 years younger and in shape like I am now, I will fuck you up. Honestly, that's what I was thinking. Like he was thinking, I'm 40 and I'm hanging with you. If I was 30, honestly, if I was 30, you'd be in trouble. But seriously entertaining fight. He got the knockdown. I think it was the second or third round. I can't remember. I just watched it as well. I can't remember. He got the knockdown anyway. It was a punch where Ruiz is trying to duck down and he punches Ruiz like there. Ruiz done well, I think, to survive that round because it looked like it messed up his equilibrium a little bit. And then he landed some good shots. Like he was doing good work. That fight was so competitive between sort of rounds 1 and 6. I think that's when Arreola, kind of the 40-year-old Arreola came out after that. He hurt his left shoulder as well. He had problems, but overall, what an entertaining fight between two decent fighters. Obviously, Ruiz is more than decent. Ruiz is very good, but Arreola still has a lot to offer. I was watching that fight thinking, Arreola certainly shouldn't retire. If he can stay in that shape, Arreola will give good work to a lot of fighters coming up. Good work. And will cause problems to a lot of fighters coming up. I'm telling you now, you could put in a prospect of Arreola. Arreola could derail your fucking prospect. Honestly, derail him. Because he's smart, he's tough, decent jab. And you can see him figuring things out as he's fighting. He's got a very smart IQ. Goosen in the corner, legendary trainer. I like it. Honestly, I like it. I'll tell you one thing about Ruiz, though. No boxer in the heavyweight division today has better punch selection than Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz's punch selection is so clean and crisp. That's the only way to describe it. His hooks are so clean. His body jab is so clean. His straight right is so clean. Technically, he is so sound. There isn't a boxer in the heavyweight division fighting right now, especially amongst the top sort of 20, 30 guys, that is that clean in his work than Andy Ruiz. So clean. Looked a bit lighter as well. Clearly was puffing sort of from round 9 onwards, but came on strong in round 12. Hurt Arreola a few good times, but I mean, Arreola is tough as old boots. But it's going to be good to see what next with Ruiz. Luis Ortiz was ringside. I don't know if that's kind of what they do when they pan the camera to show someone. I wonder if that's what they're trying to set up next. But look, I like the fight. I really did like it a lot. Thoroughly entertaining. If you haven't seen it, I tell you to go and watch it. It really was good. There were other fights on the card that I didn't watch any of the other fights, so there's no point talking about them. But look, excited for Ruiz. Excited to see him come in a bit lighter again. There is still a lot of weight to lose, by the way. Like, he could lose easily another 15 pounds. Like, literally could lose another stone. And then it'll be really good because he has the fastest hands in the division. That's fact. His feet aren't as fast. If his feet can get a bit faster with the hands he's got, the power he's got, the boxing IQ he's got, the team he's got around him, he's going to be a problem. Peace and love.